at all.
What was that one, John?
Ellen Smith.
How was she found?
Boys, I'll be damned if I can.
And what was that?
Huh?
What was that, Sherman?
Christmas morning. One way of playing it. I think there's about 2 or 3 different ways of playing.
I don't know how many they was. And they got shut up. They got shut up in the mine. There's a whole bunch of the men. I don't know how many of them had killed. But anyway, they lived there 48 hours and they took the Sherman out. And they thought at the first they see there's life, a little life in there. Some of the others, they were just a little bit and they got him picked in. They took him to the hospital. And they kept him in there and kept him in there a good while. Finally, last, they thought he was dead. They get him up dead. They put him in his coffin and everything. Give him up to be dead. And 2 men started to carry him out to put him in the ambulance, and one of them stubbed his toe over a 15 and fell and dropped the coffin, and when he dropped the coffin, why, he heard him make a noise, a jar of it, and he said, "This man ain't dead." He said to them, and they both heard it. They said, "No sir, for he sure made a noise," and they just right quick run and got the nurses and doctor and told them, said, "Yes sir, he made the noise loud till we both heard him." And they opened him up right quick and found out he wasn't dead, and put him in his bed, and they worked with him and they got him too by Jane. And when they got him straightened up so he could talk and everything, he told them. He said, "Now I wasn't," he said, "I was in a trance, but he said, I was a long ways from here." He said, "I was a long ways from here, I'll tell you I wasn't." They said, "Where was you at?" He said, "I went to hell." He said, "I went to hell," he said. And he said, if they started just as he started to throw him in that fire, that's when they dropped the coffin and he come back to, well, he said he started somewhere and he didn't know where he was going. Now it's just like a dream. It's just like a dream, you see. And he said he'd started somewhere, but he didn't know where he was going. And it was so dark he couldn't see. And he said he went on and he went on and he didn't know how long he said he traveled. And at last he said he come to the forks of a road. He said there's one road, he said, was a big road, and the other one was just a little narrow road. And of course he took the big road, you see. He couldn't see, he said he couldn't see on the other, and it was so dark. He took that big broad road, and on he went and on he went. And he said it seemed like he, after a while he said he could just hear people hollering and going on, making all kinds of noise, and he'd stop and listen, but he didn't know where they was at. He said he couldn't tell where they was at, but they were just a hollering. And he said after a while, he come to a big river. And he said that was the prettiest river ever he seen. And it was a long ways across it, but he said it was just as still, and it just looked like water. He said you'd see the moon is shining on water and it glistened, or the sun.
Yeah.
That's the way he told. He said the water looked green, but it just looked right glistening on top, and still yet he could hear that hollering going on. And he said when he got to that river, that he was at the end of his rope, he couldn't get no further. And he said he went up and down that river, and he looked, and after a while he said he looked across the river and he see a big boat tied up over on the other side. He said, and he was just a-wishing that that boat was on his side, he said. And after a while he said he looked a-coming down next to the river, and he said there come a giant now. He said he's no use talking. And the biggest man looking for a man that ever he seen. And he said he looked a long time for he didn't even know whether it was a man or what it was. But he said he had a big spear packing it right across his shoulder. Big, he said, a big long spear. And he said that was the uppest looking man ever he seen. He just come right on to the river. Right on down to the river, and he said when he got down to the river there for that boat, he come right straight to where that boat was. He just stepped in that boat, he said, when he came down. Just shoved it off of the bank, and he said, and just a few shoves, and he said he was a long way to cross the river. And he landed right plumb, he said, for he was at. And he said it scared him to death when he looked at him. And he never said a thing. He said he just landed the boat there. He never said a thing. At point his last, he said, "Go with me." He said he spoke his right plain. He said, "Go with me." And he said, like a fool, he never hesitated or nothing. He just walked and got in the boat with him. He said he just walked and stepped in the boat with him. And he said across he went. He said it just took him seemed like just a shove or two, but he could just see the waves and everything from the boat. He landed the boat out, he said. And when he landed the boat out and got out of the boat, he said, "Go with me," he said. And he said he couldn't do nothing else. For he said it just stayed so dark he couldn't see. And he just took after him, he said. And he could just hear people, he said, a-hollering. And see a light come up. He said that light had come up. He said just blaze up like that, and then it'd go right down. And come up and go in. He said he wondered what that could be. He said it just gives such a light as it lit plumb up to the sky. And he said it'll just go out. And he said when he got on a ways further, and he said that never paid no attention to that light nor nothing. He never paid no attention, just took right on, just went right on. And he said when he got up pretty close to, said he found out, by gosh, what kind of a light it was. He said and that big blaze of fire, he said it was a big blaze of fire. And he said it just come rolling up. He said just come rolling up that fire, wasn't just. And he said there was people riding that fire. And he said he'd just come up and just, he said there's a holler. And he said they was a hollering that, and then he could hear a holler. And he said he'd just roll up like that, and just go right back down outside. And right then he said he knew he was going to hell. He said he knew he was going to, and he said that he just went a little ways further when he seen that, and he said he never said a word to him. He never spoke a word to that big thing that was a-taking him, nor neither did he. And he said it looked like a building. Of course, he said it wasn't a building, but it was just a big long thing put up. He said just looked like the side of a big building, and they was right in behind that. That's where that fire was coming up. Well, he said he didn't know what in the devil to do, for he was foul and he couldn't do nothing. And he said when he got there, it just looked like a big gate. Oh, he said it was big beside that. Said he just stepped to that big thing. They just stepped to that and just pitched it up. And he said he just rolled right back. Just went rolling right back the side of that did. And he said when he looked in, he see it in the hell, the lake of fire. He said right in hell when he looked in. And he said he reached back to throw him in, that big spear. And he said when he reached back to get him, He said he was scared so bad that his breath left him, he reckoned. And that's when they dropped it in. Now he told us, he said as long as he lived, that he was going to live just as near right as he ever could in the world. To know it. Now he said that was hell that he was going to. Now he told that.
The Charleston jail?
The Charleston jail.
Yes.
I forgot all the good songs. This old jail's awful hard. This old jail's awful hard. With the doors all locked and the windows all barred. Hard times in the Charleston jail. And it's hard times, I say. The big iron bars bound down to the floor. The big iron bars bound down to the floor. The drinking and the fighting, what could we do no more? Hard times in the Charleston jail, and it's hard times, I say. Every time Mr. Grub, every time Mr. Grub comes around, old cornbread is hard as a rock and as heavy as lead. Dropping down from heaven down into a cell. It's like dropping down from heaven down into hell. Hard times in the Charleston jail, and it's hard times, I say. Well, first to the courthouse and then to the jail. First to the courthouse and then to the jail. I hung my hat on a rusty nail. Hard times in the Charleston jail, and it's hard times, I say. The nail was a brush and the hat got a fall. The nail was rusty and the hat got a fall. You ought to see the grayback, the kind in the ball. Hard times in the Charleston jail, and it's hard times, I say. The state of attorney, well, he's a mighty mean man. The state of attorney is a mighty mean man. Your pockets they'll pick and your clothes they'll sell. Get drunk on your money, they're doing damn well. Hard times in the Charleston jail, and it's hard times, I say. These old judges had a mighty good time. These old judges had a mighty good time. They send you down to Mount Bill and Leper to dwell, and for $25 they'll send you to hell. Hard times in the Charleston jail, and it's hard times, I say.
Yes, right.
But there's a few can't play. You fellas can. That's the best music I've heard for a long, long time.